What's going on with you guys, man? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys. I got sick recently. It feels like I've been sick for like 2 weeks. So I've been very inconsistent with the gym on and off, you feel me? As you guys know, I've been bulking. It feels like I honestly lost a lot of weight since I got sick. I'm gonna be very transparent with you guys. I felt like I was kind of falling out of, like, you know what I'm saying, being locked in, or like kind of just losing that motivation to keep going. In the game of life, motivation is the last thing we want to be relying on. You want to do things even when you don't feel like it. You want to do things from a place of discipline and not a place of motivation. A good amount of my life, I would focus on motivation carrying me through doing things. A lot of times I would start doing the thing I said I was going to do, but then as soon as the motivation would fade, I would stop. So let's say I would say I'm going to the gym. As soon as I get locked in the gym, I would go to the gym for like, let's say 3 weeks, maybe let's say a month. I would be working out, and then right after that, something would happen in between that, and then the second it happened, my motivation would fade. And then you think I'm gonna keep showing up? No, I didn't show up anymore. And I want to talk to everybody out there that may be dealing with the same thing. And you finding that motivation to get up out of bed and just get yourself to the gym sometimes can be hard. But again, when we rely on motivation, something external can make us shift. Let's say a negative thought, a negative experience. You go to work and a coworker and you get into it, and now you're mad for the rest of the day. You can't even put your mind towards going to the gym. You're at school and you failed the test, and now your parents is on you because you failed that test. You think you're gonna be like, okay, let me go to the gym? A lot of times when things like that happens, or let's say your boss says you got 1 day left, tomorrow's your last day, you think you're gonna be like, yo, let me go to the gym? Nah, you're not. That's not gonna be the first thing on your mind. The first thing on your mind is trying to figure out how can you win in the situation that you've been dealt? How can you win with the cards you've been dealt? And a lot of times we focus on doing that. And the gym is not everything, guys. I promise you guys, the gym is a great way to start to build discipline within yourself. But the gym is not gonna just fix everything in your life. You can use the gym as a simulation in life. So you can go to the gym, let's say you grab a weight, you start off with a 25-pound weight. Now, for a whole month, you're doing 25. Next month, you're doing 45. Next month, you're doing 50s. To see yourself face that challenge over and over. Let's say the first time you lift up a 25-pound weight, you could only do 5 reps. But then you're like, you know what, let me lock in. Let me start tracking my protein. Let me start drinking my creatine. Let me start eating a better diet so I know I can get to my goal, which is lifting that 25-pound 10 times. You see what I'm getting? You guys see what I'm going to, right? Use the gym as a simulation to show you how to navigate challenges within life. When something hard comes your way, instead of running away from it, or instead of trying to find a distraction, you know what I'm saying, focusing on doing the thing that you said you were going to do, starting the business, writing down the business ideas, writing down the video ideas. And I'm not talking just to you, I'm talking to myself, because I've made that same mistake and I'm still making that same mistake. But today I've made a decision that I can no longer rely on motivation, because motivation will only get me so far, and motivation is not going to get me to the goal, to the dream, to the destination God has sent me. And there's a reason why we go through these seasons. There's a reason why we have these ups and we have these downs, because that's what makes us stronger. As much as I may not want to face seasons like this, as much as I may not want to go through things like this, we have to, because when we come out the storm, we come out stronger. I always tell you guys this, but it's not just about becoming stronger. You become wiser. So the next time you're faced with the same situation, you know exactly what to do next time, right? I was thinking about how going forward, sometimes listening to God's voice, taking that risk, sometimes, you know, those things can scare us. Sometimes going to do that career idea that we see in our head, in our hearts, that God has sent us, can be very scary. But sometimes it's not a risk. See, risk is doing something, going forward without God's direction. Faith is moving when you know you have God's direction. When you hear God's voice telling you go take that step. At the end of the day, God is greater than everything that we're facing. God is greater. The circumstances that you're going through, God is greater. The situation, the circumstance that you're going through, God is greater. Remember that every time. The doubt you're going through, God is greater. Remember that. Not just the doubt, but the depression. Remember the depression, God is greater, right? Remember that. Because sometimes we give so much power to the depression. Sometimes we give so much power to the anxiety that we forget who's on our side, that we forget who's fighting for us. We're forgetting who died on the cross for our sins so we can have everlasting life. So I want to tell you guys, Do not end up like Lot's wife. Lot's wife looked back and she turned to a pillar of salt, because when God sent the assignment to Lot, he said, take your family out of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's going to be destroyed. And also, I need you to listen to my instruction. Flee. Leave. Don't look back. Also, keep going. Grab your family and go. But the ones that did believe him was his daughters and his wife, right? But his wife was stuck. Even though his wife was believing what he was saying, his wife was attached still to Sodom and Gomorrah. But you see, Sodom and Gomorrah was a place full of wickedness, things that were happening there that shouldn't have been happening. And God wanted to remove Lot and his family out of that environment, right? So God says, move. You have an assignment. I need you to listen. How many of us have had an assignment and it feels like we hear the assignment, we hear God's voice tugging at us, and it's so hard for us to not hesitate? So I'm talking to somebody right now. I'm trying to tell you, do not look back in the season that you are in, because if you look back to what you are attached to, if you look back, if you keep looking back at the anxiety, if you keep looking back at the depression, if you keep looking back at the times that you thought were greater than the time you're in right now, you're going to miss out on the blessing that God has right in front of you, because you were so focused on what happened last time. What happened when you were in that relationship, when that person did you dirty? What happened when you were working for that company and they did you dirty? You feel what I'm trying to say, guys? So right now, we have to stop looking backwards and we have to start looking forward and just trusting God's plan. Again, walking off that cliff, blindly walking in faith, not knowing where I'm going, but I trust you, God. Because where I am going, I know is greater than where I am right now. And because I have you on my side, I know that I cannot lose. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. We say that, but do we really believe that? Do we really live like that? When you really live like that, it's a different connection to God. Everything that you're attached in that last season cannot come with you to go to that next season. Everything that you're attached to in that last season will hold you back from getting to the level that God wants you to get to that next level, the place God anointed for you, the place God has sent in your heart. He's telling you to take that first step. If you just take that first step, God's going to handle the rest. If you just walk in faith, God's going to handle the rest. Again, faith is not risk. Everything that we think taking that step forward is not a risk. It's just moving in faith, and faith is obedience. So don't hesitate, guys. This is the time to walk in faith. This is the time for us to not listen to our wants in the moments to get that instant gratification, but to get that delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is greater than instant gratification. And that's what the gym brings to you and brings to your mindset. When you start going to the gym, you're going to start to realize that delayed gratification. See, that's why people start going to the gym and they stop going to the gym. Instant gratification is when you go to the gym and you don't see no results. You look in the mirror and you're like, yo, I'm still fat. I'm still out of shape. I still am skinny. I'm not putting on any weight. So you know what? I'm not coming back to the gym. But then you look around and you see everybody in the gym and it's like, why are they getting the results that they're getting? It's because they're connected to delayed gratification. They keep showing up even when they don't feel like it. They keep showing up even when they're exhausted. They keep showing up even when they're anxiety, even when they're depressed, even when everything in their circumstance is not working out in their favor. They keep showing up. So I'm daring somebody in this video. I'm talking to you right now. I don't know who I'm talking to, but keep showing up in this season, in this year. Keep showing up. Let's get crazy faith. Listen, guys, I'm gonna tap in with you guys in the next video. This video will find you in divine timing. I'm gonna tap in with you guys in the next video. Yeah.